Morning, Brute. Oh, it must be early. Oh, it's nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Time for a fragrance video. Good afternoon. It is actually the afternoon. How lazy is that, lying in bed? But of course, if you know me by watching these videos, that's not really me. The whole point of it today really is we're going to look at bed fragrances or sort of sleepy scents. So I actually quite like to put fragrances on when I go to bed. I find it quite relaxing. So I spray my bed sheets, I spray my top. And to be honest with you, even my dressing gown, it just helps me sleep. It helps calm me down. I don't feel right now if I don't wear it, whether that's in the summer or the winter. I'll apply a fragrance. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to sort of share the ones that I wear and maybe some that I've owned before, that I think would be brilliant bed scents that I've worn as bed scents as well, and just sort of recommend those for you to look out for. So it's sort of a vibe with these sort of fragrances. Obviously, normally I quite like strong fragrances, sweet fragrances, those more winter ones. When we're talking about bed scents, we don't really want that because actually I've had fragrances that have woken me up before, Rasasi Daraj being one of them. So we might look at some fragrances that maybe don't go too well as well. But really the purpose of today is to kind of give my opinion on ones that I own, that I really like, that I wear to bed, and just some other ones that you could consider. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to start with the first one I spoke about, which is Brut. This is the last fragrance I wore going to bed the other day. So this is Brut sort of cologne, I think it is. Yeah, Brut Original Cologne. So the reason I like this one, the reason first of all I think it's a brilliant bed fragrance is because it's so cheap. You can get 100 ml of this for £5, £5 to £6. Honestly, that is a bargain. And yes, it's an old school fragrance, but it's not a beast mode one because normally a lot of those old school fragrances are super strong. So what I've got here is I've got my phone. I'm just going to sort of read the note breakdown because there's certain notes here that I think you really want to look for with bed fragrances, and this definitely touches on a few of them. So the notes are, the top notes are lavender. Lavender's proven to be a sort of relaxing fragrance. A note, yeah, it's just well known to be a calming scent. Anise, bergamot, basil. I do get a bit of basil in this actually. Orange blossom, lemon. Middle notes, yang yang, which I can never pronounce. Geranium and jasmine. And base notes are coumarin, musk, oak moss, sandalwood, tonka bean, vanilla, patchouli, and vetiver. There's not much of the sort of vetiver. As a general sort of rule for this, by the way, this is just a soapy barbershop fragrance. I honestly would tell you, I think the notes I really detect with this, I think that vanilla is making that sort of sweet, it's like a sweet green fragrance, but it's certainly not like an overload of sweetness at all. But I'm mainly getting lavender. It's an old school sort of lavender, creamy lavender scent, and I just think it's very pleasant. It's only going to last you a couple of hours, but it'd be basically enough to sort of send you off to sleep. You can spray a lot of this, and yeah, it's never cloying. It's just great. It's also really good for when you come out of the shower. So yeah, if you just want like on a hot day, just something just to keep you sort of topped up through the day, smelling clean, this is brilliant. And that's the sort of thing we're looking for. We're looking for sort of clean, easy to pull off aquatic citrus notes, and this obviously has the citrus and floral components as well in it. So yeah, very much like this fragrance, and it's a great bed scent. So what is hiding under the bed sheet here? There is another fragrance just hiding under here, and this is probably not one you particularly recognise from the bottle, but this is Devane 770. This is a clone fragrance. Now, I actually think clone fragrances are great for sort of bed fragrances as well, essentially, because, yeah, they obviously cost a fraction of the price. And if you know there's a sort of scent you like that's a bit more expensive, you can get it nice and cheap, and you can essentially spray a bit more. So this is a clone of Aqua de Palma Sakura. And if we look at the nose of Aqua de Palma Sakura, which costs over £100, so I would never spend a lot on a bed fragrance, even if it's one that's a really high quality brand. Obviously, if you've got a high quality one, there's nothing wrong with spraying it, but let's be honest, stick with cheap here and stick with not too strong. Now, normally I'd say floral can be a bit too much for bed, particularly things like rose, far, far too strong, and there's plenty of strong sort of notes that are floral, but this one is absolutely fine. So the top notes with Sakura, we've got we've got bergamot. I don't know how you pronounce that one. Yellow mandarin, pink pepper, and then you've got cherry blossom, jasmine, and musk. Musk again, so that sort of clean washing vibe. That's what I quite like with bed sheets sort of smells, that clean washing vibe as well. So not just aquatic, a nice clean scent. And for me, the real heart or the real selling point to Sakura is the cherry blossom and pink pepper in it. It's really nice. It's really, really nice. It's not overpowering at all. I'm just going to give it a quick spray actually. Yeah, I mean, this is extremely feminine. That's the first thing I'd say. I think the jasmine definitely plays a part of that. It's like a jasmine musk, but it's cherry blossom that really shines through on this. So if you know you like that sort of smell, this is brilliant. I don't find it overpowering at all. Very pleasant. You can get this cologne, which is 100 ml, for about, I think it's £18 from Devane. Really worth it. So if you like your floral scents, you know you like that for sort of clean clothes sort of smell, this is the one to go for. Right, on to the next one. So what is hiding under the bedsheet this time? So, you ready? I think this is a discontinued one, but I definitely still got it, and I definitely think it's worth mentioning. So this is Nostalgia Blue by Zara. Now, you can probably guess by the name what this is. This is a blue fragrance, and I was just having a look at the note. I'm actually quite surprised. The top thing it sort of says on Fragrantica is it's warm, spicy, and the notes are, if I read them out, patchouli, cardamom, vanilla, geranium, saffron, ambroxan, lavender, and leather. This definitely has a masculine vibe to it. This one, where the other fragrance, the Devane 770, was more feminine, this one is definitely more masculine. It's got this sort of peppery masculine vibe to it, and I think the ambroxan is super strong. This is ambroxan heavy, which gives it that shower gel vibe, but it is slightly more grown up. I don't know whether that's coming from the leather or, you know, even maybe the saffron. I think saffron's quite an old school. No, I don't see it a lot in fragrances too much now, or not in popular ones anyway. But maybe that earthy patchouli as well. But this is a little bit more grown up, but it is a sort of peppery shower gel sort of vibe to it, and it's so pleasant. Yeah, I might even have that as my bed fragrance tonight. Really nice, ambroxan heavy. If you know you like those sort of Bleu de Chanel fragrances, it's more in that vibe than Dior Sauvage. It's not quite as juvenile, but it's very pleasant. This one lasts a little bit longer as well, I think, again, because of those sort of deeper, earthier notes. So, yeah, I think it's great. If you can find it online, it was about £15 before, but it's, again, very clean. It smells a bit like a well put together sporty person. So if you're a sporty personality, this is great. Definitely more for the summer, but in this transition season, great for a bed scent. Right, on to the next one. Okay, so this one is more for sort of UK viewers. I don't think you can get this abroad because this is a Marks and Spencer scent. Done a bit of a review on this, well, probably a couple of months ago now. I can't believe how fast the time's going. We'll be talking about Christmas very soon. But anyway, what is under here? It is this fragrance, which is Cool Vetiver by Marks and Spencers. Now, vetiver can be a bit of a funny note. It can be a really nice, clean sort of vetiver, or, you know, it's quite soapy, that, or it can be quite grassy and quite dark. This is obviously being called Cool Vetiver. You can tell by the bottle. This is very much a blue fragrance again. And the notes in this are other notes that I think are really good for bed scents. So, the ones they say here, it is an intense fusion, sparkling citrus, definitely got that sparkling opening, ginger and nutmeg. Ginger's a great bed scent, by the way. Again, that fizzy citrus sort of notes, brilliant. And then it's an earthy base of vetiver. So I'm going to spray the pillow this time. Yeah, now this is more the Dior Sauvage type vibe. So where Nostalgia Blue was more Bleu de Chanel, a little bit more grown up, this is your juvenile one. You can get it for £10. Performance isn't bad on this. This will last half the night anyway. And if you put this sort of on your bed half an hour before you go, you get in it, this is great. It's a little bit juvenile, but that's what I quite like with it. It's just very clean, like you've been in the sea and you've just come out and you've washed yourself with shower gel, basically, or, a nice sun cream, essentially. Very much in that blue fragrance range, which I still think is perfect, even in the sort of cooler weather. But yeah, this will thrive in the summer. So if it's a really hot night and you just want something just to make you not feel sweaty and sticky in bed, Cool Vetiver, brilliant pickup. Unisex as well. So yeah, good one by Marks and Spencers. Okay, that looks super tall. And I'm contradicting myself here because I said fragrances should be cheap on the whole. This one wasn't cheap. I think I paid about £72 for it, but there's a reason why I did, because it's 300 ml, and it's this one. Now, I don't think you can get it quite for that price tag, but this is Granado Tahiti Lime and Neroli. Neroli is the scent in this. This is an eau de cologne, I believe. It's got to be an eau de cologne. Yeah, it's feminine scent. It's actually more unisex, I think, but I think it is actually malted for women. Essentially, it's lime and neroli. Now, I love neroli. If anyone's had Colonia Ascends back with the Palmer. It is brilliant. But this has a slight sort of green tinge, obviously, with the lime. And I actually think green notes, as long as there's that sort of bergamot, fizzy sort of notes, I think they're really nice. Mint's another one that I think is really nice as well. So let's have a look what's in this one. So Neroli, lime, and mandarin orange are the top notes. Again, that nice citrus. Middle notes, neroli, petitgrain, and lavender. Base notes, musk, cedar, and amber. So really what you're getting is a very, very nice light citrus. Citrus notes, again, like we were saying with sort of Ambroxan stuff, very clean, very nice, but they don't last particularly long. They tend to be top notes on most fragrances. This is 300 ml, so this is perfect. This only lasts probably an hour and a half, but it's a lovely lime neroli scent. That is really all it is. It's like neroli with a green tinge of sort of lime. So it's like a lemon and lime drink essentially. Really nice. Obviously, I appreciate this is very expensive to just have as a bed spray, but in the summer you can easily wear this just casually as a top-up scent. You can get it in a 100ml bottle. Don't know if you can get it any smaller, but this is more like a splash, like an aftershave sort of splash, or again, as it's marketed mainly towards women, just a sort of top-up scent to keep you smelling nice and clean through the day. So yeah, don't expect too much complexity with this. It just smells super natural though. It's not as harsh and synthetic as some of the cheaper fragrances. This is very, very natural. So if you want a natural bed scent, this is perfect, absolutely perfect. And it'll do a lot more than just that. One more here, and again, I'm contradicting myself here, but it wouldn't be a sort of video of my fragrance video without talking about Lush. Now, I've said pretty much, as you've seen from the fragrances so far that I've recommended, we're talking fresh, citrus, clean, and cheap on the whole. And not overly strong performers, which is very rare for me to say. Now, this one is literally the opposite of all of that. This isn't fresh, this isn't clean, this isn't sort of short in terms of longevity. It's super, super strong. Not overly cheap, it's just around the £30 mark. But in a cold sort of day, which is starting to get quite cold outside, this is very cozy. It's a lot more cozy than those clean washing scents. Sometimes you do just want that coziness, particularly if you're spraying things like dressing gowns or bed sheets, but you don't want to go over the top on this one. Lush Sticky Dates. So if I read this, you can't find too much on note breakdowns here, but if I read the sort of notes that are on it, already a legend in its own time. This velvety blend of benzoin, resinoid, sandalwood, and caramel, which is a really, really strong note here. This essentially smells like, let me just spray it. Yeah, this is so nice. It's like a maple syrup, and really nice caramel maple syrup that you might have on like a stroop waffle or like waffles, you know, that sort of smell. It's so mass pleasing. When this came out, it sold out straight away. I don't even think it really, I think, to be honest, it was gone within half an hour, and they've actually had to sort of make it a permanent fixture because it was limited edition. It crashed the website. This is date night and all of that, but this is quite, again, juvenile. It's quite youthful, and it's not really, what's the word? It's not really refined, so it's quite, yeah, quite playful. I just find it really cozy and casual, which is really nice on a sort of cold night. If it's frosty outside and you just want to have that sort of nice caramel smell while you're in bed, this is great. It just reminds me maybe that's what it is. It's like a nice sort of waffle in the morning, a nice caramel waffle, and yeah, I just think it's really nice. Bit bold that though. I'm not necessarily saying that is the right thing. It's not like clean washing or anything like that. But if you're actually quite happy to wear a sort of sweet fragrance to bed and a mass pleasing one, this is brilliant. It's really nice. But please just buy this just because it's a great fragrance. And honestly, I've worn this so many times, and I'll probably wear it to bed tonight, to be honest with you. I'll just wear them all at this rate, won't I? Right, I'm going to recommend a few more that I don't own, but we're going to head to the computer now so I can tell you about them. The first one I just wanted to quickly share, one I stole from my brother again. This is called Twilight, and it does say Sleepy Body Spray. I think they've rebranded it now and called it Sleepy, but this is lavender. This is, again, just a lavender fragrance. I don't think there's really much else in it. The Yang Ylang, that's in it again. But this just smells like, so yeah, so don't think of lavender like your Le Male sort of lavender or your Mont Blanc Legend. This is very much like lavender if you walk by lavender and rub it on your fingers outside. So pleasant. Probably more feminine, this one, but if you know you like lavender like that I said outside in a nice garden or field, this is perfect. This is, again, I think lavender is proven as a note to help you relax and help you sleep. This is so calming. This is really nice. And they used to call it a pillow spray. They actually call it a sleepy body spray. So again, it is purely just to be a bed scent. This is essentially what they marketed it for. So this is probably what I'd say is the ultimate bed scent. Right, what other ones did I come up with? This is a pretty obvious one, I think. I think everyone knows this fragrance. It came out in 1988, apparently. And I think this was my ultimate bed spray, my ultimate gym spray, my ultimate do-it-all spray when I had it. And I'm going to get it again at some point because the price has always stayed pretty consistent and you can get it. It's very readily available. Again, it goes into that sort of clean vibe. So Davidoff, cool water. If we look at the top notes, seawater, again, aquatic. I think that goes really well with that nice sort of clean smell. It's perfect for going to bed. Lavender again, mint, green notes of things we've already spoken about. Rosemary, coriander, sandalwood, neroli, geranium, jasmine. Again, old school fragrances have so many notes, but musk, oak moss. Oak moss definitely gives a bit of a green vibe. This has definitely got that green vibe. And then it says it's got cedar, tobacco, and ambergris. Don't really notice that. For me, this is a nice green sort of really deep seawater sort of smell. And you kind of get that from the bottle that you see. But it's very nice, not overpowering. Again, we talked about old school fragrances being strong. This one isn't. It's great. I think you probably know this scent anyway. So yeah, it's perfect. It can do so many jobs for sort of 125 ml for around £20. I think it's a really good one, and it'll just, like I said, it'll get you through the day, and it'll certainly get you a good night's sleep as well. So on to the next one. This one is very underrated, and actually I think it's been discontinued. You can still get it on eBay. Let's talk about it. Now, I think if you haven't tried this or you haven't even heard of it, I wouldn't be surprised. This was, in my opinion, the fragrance that got away from the community because it was fantastic, and I wore it to bed all the time, even when I had Davidoff Cool Water. This is Aramis Adventurer. So I had Voyager and Adventurer, both from Aramis. It was kind of their newer releases, and maybe that's because people didn't like this one because it's too far removed maybe from the original. And obviously Aramis is considered an older person's brand. This was trying to go into that sort of modern vibe. So what are the notes in this? Well, the top notes are black pepper, lemon and bergamot. So again, we're talking citrus. Bit of a masculine vibe to it, but absolutely fine, not too heavy. Wormwood, lavender and geranium. Again, we've got lavender in the middle. And then the base, seaweed, cedar and patchouli. This was the seaweed. The seaweed here was the absolute standout. And I don't think it smells like horrible, dirty seaweed. It wasn't like that. I think there was this nice ocean vibe to it, that pepperiness. And it was just smelled like you were at the beach. Again, a little bit like cool water, but just a lot more salty. Definitely a really nice saltiness. And some people didn't like that. I just think it was too far removed from the original Aramis. I said a minute ago, you can't get this, I don't think, anymore. But you can definitely get it on eBay. And honestly say, if you're looking at a blue fragrance to try, this is the one I really want to recommend and push. Just go for it. Just take that little risk with this. This is a stunner. I'm tempted to buy it. If you don't get it on eBay, I'll get it before you. If someone buys it before you get it, that'll be me, because this is an absolute stunner. And I'm hoping Aramis, if they have discontinued it, they bring it back, because this is what blue fragrances, in my opinion, should be. And it's certainly one of the best bed scents I've certainly owned. So yeah, definitely recommend Aramis Adventurer. And the last one I want to recommend, I won't point so much, I was really pointing there, I was telling you, you have to buy that. But I really do recommend that one. That's the best one of the lot. By the way, all the fragrances I mentioned, Aramis Adventurer. Right, stop pointing, Harry. The last one, so we started with a really cheap fragrance. We said Brut Cologne, didn't we? I'm going to go to another real cheap one, which actually I didn't own, but my brother did. He didn't like it because it does smell a bit like your granddad's soap, to be honest with you. Don't know when it came out, but I think it is a very old school fragrance. I've seen an advert of it on the telly before, or like on YouTube, which was on, it was on the telly years ago. So this does have that sort of vibe to it, but it's called Blue Stratos, the Eau de Toilette. I think you can get it in aftershaves as well. So yeah, try and get this in the Eau de Toilette. It's about £4 or £5 again. And if we look at the note, it's a citrus aromatic. Top notes, seawater, bergamot, Amalfi lemon, grapefruit, geranium patchouli, and then the base notes, thyme, basil, mint, musk, woodsy notes, and pine. So pine, yeah, don't particularly like that as a sort of note that I'd wear to bed. I think green notes can be, a little bit like we were saying with floral. You've got to be a little bit careful because they can be really heavy and overpowering. This one isn't though. This one is really more about that lemon and opening of sort of citruses. Just smells like I said, that I hate to say, but if your granddad's had a wash, it just smells like the soap he's got there. It's like that nice soapy smell. It's so inoffensive. You throw it in your gym bag if you don't really want it as a bed scent, but it's just clean. It won't last too long, and again, it'll just make your room smell quite pleasant. I'll go back to it. For me, if we're talking bed scents and fragrances to sleep to, just cheap, not too heavy, easy to pull off, and if it's got a clean washing or a sort of aquatic vibe, then that's perfect. This does that, and you're not breaking the bank at all for it. So yeah, that is my 10 suggestions. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do something a little bit different now. I'm going to spray some of the fragrances on my bed that I think maybe don't work and just see if maybe I'm wrong. Let's have a go. There's some old school fragrances. I'm going to try the original Aramis, going to try coffee scent, and yeah, we'll try a couple more. Okay, so the first fragrance we're going to try, this is a real old school pineapple scent. The strongest sillage I've ever tried, and I will never wear this one to bed. Ted Lapidus Pour Homme. Honestly, it is enormous. You can smell this literally from down the road. It is that strong. So I'm going to spray a little bit. I've got to sleep with this pillow tonight. What am I doing? Yeah, that is, so it's got honey and pineapple, but it's so old smelling. It's just, yeah, it's got a little bit, and I hate to say it, but old fragrances do this a bit of a urine smell to it. And yeah, you definitely don't want to sleep with that one. That will wake you up through the night, 100%. You won't avoid it. So definitely don't recommend really old school fragrances that have honey and just animalic. If you see anything that says animalic, avoid that one. Even though that is a cheap pineapple fragrance, you might potentially think, oh, citrus, that's good. Definitely not that one. Right, what are we going to try next? The next one, I'm actually not sure if this is going to work or not because this is super strong, and that's why I don't think it's going to work. But this is a sort of note that I think, if it's done right, and it's not really strong, but I know it is quite a powerful note anyway, this might be alright because it might remind you of sort of breakfast in bed. Double Espresso by Fragrance World. This is part of their coffee collection. So, just going to spray that side of my pillow. This literally just smells like a double shot of espresso. Oh, it's like burnt coffee. Yeah, now, do you know what? That is okay. I'm going to change my opinion. I do kind of like that smell. I love the smell of coffee, hence why I bought that fragrance. But it's so realistic. It's literally like someone spilled coffee on your bed sheets. But as long as you don't overspray that, that might be okay. I still think it's too strong on the whole. But in the winter, again, if you love that smell of coffee, I'm not going to say that one's a complete no-no. I certainly wouldn't advise it. But if you have this fragrance and you own it and you like it, I think you might get away with that one. I don't think I'm going to try it, but you might get away with it. Right, I don't think you'll get away with the next one though. Now, again, I absolutely love my favourite sort of genre of notes is boozy notes. And the next two fragrances I'm going to talk about are boozy fragrances. But you don't really want to go to bed smelling like you've been on a really big night out and you've had far too much to drink. And sometimes as well, if anyone does like their drinking, you can kind of smell of booze if you sweat. You do some exercise the next morning. This might give off that bit of vibe. Bentley for Men Intense. So you all know the smell of this fragrance by now. Very woodsy, but it's rum. It's like a sparkling rum that's really the prominent note of this. So yeah, see, this does not go at all on bed sheets or pillows or whatever. That's far too heavy. Yeah, that will keep you up at night. That is so strong. And of course, you've got to consider if there's someone else with you, you don't really want to have that. I'd even recommend if you've worn that on a night out, potentially have a shower before you go to bed because it's super heavy. The woods are brilliant. I mean, it's such a top fragrance. And that's the thing here. Normally, I'm talking about these fragrances that I really enjoy. These ones I'm saying don't wear to bed as the ones that are brilliant. And the ones that I've kind of recommended for bed scents are the ones I normally say aren't very good. So it's sort of, it just shows different fragrances, different prices, different notes, so different in different occasions. Too many difference there, but you know what I mean. You've got to use your fragrances in the right scenario, and if you know that, then you can buy cheap and buy expensive. It doesn't really matter. You'll find a use for it, even if you're not a big fan. That one though, I absolutely love. It's an all-timer, but I'm not a fan of it on the bed sheets. Right, 2 more to go. Love a boozy one now. So that was an eau de parfum, by the way, Bentley for Men Intense. This is actually an extract. This is a pure parfum, and it's probably my favourite fragrance, certainly my favourite boozy fragrance. I don't recommend ever wearing extracts to bed, even if they're not that strong. But this is Nasomato Baronda. This is amazing, this scent. This is the most realistic caramel whiskey you can imagine. Now, as I said earlier, sticky dates, brilliant. I really like it. It's a playful sort of caramel scent. This one is dominated by the sort of whiskey note in this. And it's very grown up, very refined, very, very high quality. So, just spray a little bit on the front of my bed sheets. There it is. I don't even need to lie down on it. It's so strong. It's just kicking up. I mean, I absolutely love the scent. I really do. But I don't want that waking me up at 3 in the morning. It's funny, isn't it? Certain smells at certain times of the day, even if we're talking about food, I love the smell of like cooked sausages in the morning for breakfast and things like that. But I don't necessarily like the smell of like a roast dinner at that time. Does that make sense? And it's a little bit like this. I love the smell of it, but not at that time of night. And even though I think it's quite relaxing, I don't think it's a particularly harsh scent because it's such a quality one. It's far too much. It just smells again like I've been on a night out. Right, the last one we're going to touch on. You know what it is. It's old school. I mentioned it a minute ago. Aramis. Smoky leather tobacco. This is not like a sweet tobacco like you get in modern fragrances. This is like you've been out with a cigar smoking like your James Bond. So I've literally sprayed the middle of my pillow there. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely not. That might be the very worst. There's this kind of, I don't know if anyone else knows, there's a bit of a greenness in it. And I don't know if that's like a carnation or something like that in the notes, because a lot of old school fragrances do have that sort of green vibe in the background. And yeah, that's too herbaceous. Far, far too smoky, herbaceous, aggressive, strong. That is my least favourite. It's got no sweetness or anything about it. It's just very smoky, very, very tobacco, leather heavy. Yeah, do not buy that one to wear as a bed set. Wear that for a formal occasion in the day, cold weather, brilliant. But that is never going to be a bed scent. So, yeah, that is all the fragrances. To be honest, the only one that's maybe changed my opinion there is probably that coffee scent. I think you could pull off a coffee note if you really wanted to. But yeah, it still wouldn't be my first choice. So, yes, that is it for today. So, it's funny, isn't it? This is probably the first video I've ever done where I've talked about fresh, clean being a really, really good thing, as opposed to those sort of really heavy notes. But I think it's really important, if you do like your sort of fragrances, do consider wearing them to bed. I absolutely, honestly, I will not go to bed now without putting a fragrance on. Sounds really strange, but I will spray my bed sheets. I'll do it all through the year. And again, I go back to it. It tends to be more that clean, cheap, aquatic, marine vibe. That's what I'm really looking for, or citrus. But you can pull off sort of floral notes. Just be a little bit aware of which ones you're going for. But cherry blossom for me is a brilliant one. I really like any sort of pink pepper fragrances. If you really want to, I really like the odd caramel scent in the winter. I find it cozy, playful, and absolutely great. But for me, stay away from those really strong leather sort of fragrances, old school fragrances on the whole. And I think you'll be happy. This is probably the best old school fragrance, I think, to wear to bed, because it's 100ml, £5. You're absolutely laughing. Brut is a brilliant one. I'm going to wear that one tonight. I keep changing my mind, but that's the one I'm going to wear again. But if there's one I can recommend, Aramis Adventurer. If you can find it on eBay, yes, it's going to be used. Go for it. It's so good. I'm definitely going to get that one in my sort of collection again soon, because it is great. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. A slightly different one that was today. we're going to do car scents next. So thank you to those that have recommended it. Obviously, being back at work, I'll probably be stuck in a load of traffic. There's loads of roadworks at the minute. So I'm going to take sort of 5 fragrances in my car, and then we'll sort of spray them, talk about them, see if any are really strong, they last in the car, and yeah, just give our overall thoughts. Are they good car fragrances? Are they good fragrances in their own right? But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one today. Or maybe think of some different scenarios I could do. So bed, car, and yeah, any others you can think of that we could maybe do that are just everyday situations that we all encounter. But yeah, that's the first of many, I'm sure. Thank you very much for watching today. I'll catch you later.